Well, don't be surprised. Put it that way. You could jump jet skis off the back of our wash right now. Another observation, it's incredibly quiet here at the helm. You've got minimal vibration coming through the boat at these sorts of speeds. G'day, good afternoon, kia ora, guys. Once again, that's my terrible attempt at saying g'day in Kiwi. We are on the Princess V65. This video is going to be a short test drive video. I'm going to talk to you about what I experience behind the helm of this British beauty. If you're interested in another Princess, we have just tested the V40, so you can follow. I'll leave a link to that in our description. The V65, this is the pinnacle of success, to be fair. This is the kind of boat you'd own when you've had many boats, when you know exactly what you want, and when you just want the ultimate experience for your weekends. You know, this is at that top level. And I guess what I want to try and convey to you guys in this video is that this is a boat you can handle short-handed. This is a boat that you can envisage driving and handling yourself. It's also a boat that you can run a skipper on too. So yes to all of the above. And the reason I say that is because the technology we have at the helm and incorporated in modern boats like this, 65 foot is a lot of boat. Agreed, 100%. This is 36 tonne worth of deep V hull, absolute sports machine. Plus the fuel, 4,000 litres, and you've got the weight of the water as well. We are full today, so there is a lot of boat. But when you add electric variable speed thrusters, so what that means is thrusters that you can operate in the traditional manner, but you can also just gently touch them and they will keep operating, so you can hold or maintain position, which is really handy when you're coming into the dock. When you add that sort of technology and side opening doors like we have here, and obviously you can operate or option boats like this remote controls as well, it becomes a vessel that you can really manage short-handed. The other thing is this style or this layout, and if you're interested in the layout, we will be filming a walkthrough video separate to that, so follow the link that comes up on your screen now to check that out. But this single level style, it's super social. You can take large groups of people, you can entertain for obviously epic day situations, but for your overnight scenarios, it's really great for that as well. And when you are underway, you as the owner operator, you're part of the party. You're not upstairs. You know what often happens on fly bridges, people will disappear downstairs and you're not really having too much fun. Anyway, we came here to test the boat, so let's do that. Twin MANs, twin mans, 1400 horsepower, straight shaft. I don't know how many blades on the prop. I'm guessing 4 or 5 bladed props. 36 tonne boat, 4,000 litres plus fuel. Let's get her moving. She does 7 knots in idle forward. At the moment, I'm at about 860 revs per motor. I'm consuming, and I'm going to talk about fuel flow on this one today because it will be relevant to some of you guys, because some of you guys are going to be, you know, we're here in New Zealand, but you're going to be moving your boat between destinations. You might have a batch up or down the coast where you like to spend the summers, and you might want to move the boat there. You might do your city weekend boating and then your summer boating at a different destination. Same scenario is going to happen in Australia between Sydney, Hamilton Island and various other destinations. Absolutely a boat that you would cruise up and down the coast for that sort of thing. So 20 litres per hour per side, 830 revs, giving us a speed return of 8.5, 8.6 knots. I'm just going to come through the rev range. Okay, going through 950, 980 revs. SOG's climbing through 9.3, and there we're just about to hit 1,000 revs there. And at 1,000 revs, we're doing 40 litres a side, and we're getting a speed return of, we're just climbing 9.9. I think we're about to see 10 knots. There we go. First observation, unbelievably quiet. So we flew the drone with the back door open before, and it was evident that it was quiet then. We have the back door closed now, and it's like ultra quiet, like luxuriously quiet. So that's something for, if you are transiting and doing some journeys, you're gonna enjoy that. So 10 knots. Gonna roll it through 1100 and bring her up to 1200. I've got full trim tab down, and I've just started with full trim tab down because of the full load on board. Seems logical. We're getting 11.6 knots at the moment. We've got 70 litres consumption aside at 11.6 knots. And yeah, we're making some waves. Like, we're always going to be making some waves in a boat like this. So if that surprises you, well, don't be surprised. Put it that way. You could jump jet skis off the back of our wash right now. So bringing the speed up a little bit, I'm just going to carry along the runway here. If I go silent or ask questions re-navigation, it's because I'm not in my home waters and I don't want to crash someone else's beautiful boat. But this looks good, and I'm checking my nav here. We look pretty good here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do moderate speeds at the moment, and then I'm going to turn around pretty soon. Okay, 16 knots, 100 litres consumption, 1,490 revs. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to turn around and pick a straight line to where we started, and then I'm going to wind the speed up. By the way, I don't know if this is going to be on your camera. There's a volcano out my window. I know it's all very normal for the locals, but I find this very cool. There's another volcano out my other window. And apparently every hill in Auckland is possibly already is a volcano. So that's cool. Okay, so I'm gonna put the boat through a turn. Real big boat stuff here. She basically doesn't heel in the turn. I'm doing that at 14 knots. Reasonably tight turning circle for a boat of this caliber, and like, I'm not noticing any considerable heel whatsoever. This is just comfortable big boat stuff. We're going to go back into our wash now. I'm doing that at 15 knots. Okay, and here we go. So those are considerable waves because I made them and didn't see any wash over the bow. So let's start to bring that speed up now. So I'm at 20 knots here, 1,700 revs, 150 litres a side. And let's start to give it some more. 22 knots and climbing. I'm just slowly inching up on the throttles here. 25 knots. Might just do a little bit of trim tab up and see how that feels. So once again, another observation, it's incredibly quiet here at the helm. You've got minimal vibration coming through the boat at these sorts of speeds on what is a large heavy boat. That's at 26 knots. I'm doing 1900 revs now and 190 aside. Let's give it some more. This feels great, actually. You feel quite powerful when you're at the helm of boats like this. Alrighty. That's the thruster going. Okay, that's all right. All right, 29 knots. 29 knots. 2,150 revs at 260 a side. She feels good. Let's give it some full revs here. Okay, that's full revs. I've got 3/4 trim tab down. I think with the load on board today, it's not really worth raising any more trim tab than that. I'm getting 267 a side, and we'll just get a little raise, just see what happens. 32 knots. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's giving us a benefit. I'm now getting 32 and a half. Going to see 33 in a second. Wow, that's quick for 40 plus tons overall. That's epic. So you can feel the boat lighten up just there as you raise the trim tabs, and this will be great in flat water, but you wouldn't be doing these sorts of speeds offshore. So I'm just gonna slowly bleed some of that speed off and drop my tabs as we do. And I'm just going to try out the transverse thrust. So you really want to be conscious of your wash on a boat like this when you're coming off the plane, because you're going to be making a little bit. And so just look over your shoulder, because you can see it on this boat. It's not like some fly bridges where you can't see down the back of the boat. That's all quite controllable. So there's another hill, must be a volcano. I'm just going to use that as my reference point. Alrighty, so 2 ons, activate side power, just bleeding off that last little bit of speed there. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to bring the boat to a stop. There you go. That's neutral, neutral. These throttles, these man throttles, are really ergonomic. The shape of the throttle base is quite nice. If you were doing long transits and just want to do single lever, you could be quite comfortable. But with dual lever mode, it's still really nice. So I'm just going to stop the boat. Okay, that's good. We're in 5 meters of water, so that's good. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to do some transverse thrust and just get the boat spinning. So lots of control there. So that's what I like about these big shaft drive boats. I know a lot of manufacturers are going to IPS these days, but keep it simple. Big torquey shafts on a boat of this size is still my preference, to be fair. And with control like that, there's not really any justification for a more expensive control system. Okay, so that's great. And now let's just try the thrusters. So one thing that I mentioned, you could, if you wanted to hold the boat into the dock, if I was parking solo, I would try and favour the starboard side because I got the opening door here. You can just walk the boat. See how my fingers are moving, and I can actually vary the speed of the thrusters. Hopefully that's coming up on the microphone. So I can walk this thing sideways. So that's just super handy. Now, if I then reverse the direction of each thruster, we can then do a similar thing to what we just achieved with the motors. See that? And I'm just doing about half speed on each thruster, so it's nice and controlled. And This is really simple stuff, guys. A little bit of practice, you can get the hang of this. You can keep a good lookout forward and aft, you know where you are, and then if you need to slow the boat down, just reverse the direction of travel. And all 40 tons of boat comes to a standstill in a matter of seconds. So that's amazing. So guys, if you're interested in this V65 and want to see a walkthrough, click on the link that's coming up on your screen right now, and some other Princess content we'll put up there as well. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of information if you're considering a boat like this, and if you're wondering whether it's a boat that you can handle by yourself. I'm going to say, from what I experienced just now, the answer is yes. So in the walkthrough, we'll go through in detail all the equipment that we see here. My name's Dan Jones. This has been Dan's Boat Life. See you on the next one.